All right, I'm Scott,
And I'm Becky.
and we just want to share with you a video about being intentional and what that looks like. So we're going to take you on a little journey throughout our lives, or maybe just our house, but stay with us.
So, one of the things I'm intentional about on the first of every month, sometimes the very last day of the month if I'm up late, is making sure I get our calendar updated. And I get out my phone because we've got a calendar app that Scott and I use together. I've got the Awana calendar, I've got the kids' school calendar, and I'm just trying to make sure that everything makes sense and I have everything down so we can be organized and able to plan for the month.
Another thing I'm very intentional about, because this is important. I mean, let's get this straight. So making my mocha. And so I have my espresso machine here, and people think you can just throw this stuff together, but you can't. First step is you got to turn the machine on. Then I get my scale out. Why do I need a scale? Because I measure my beans. Because you got to have 20 grams per 2 shots. You have to be intentional if you want a good mocha. So once I dump my beans in here, and I get to that perfect, I've done it enough, that's actually 20. I get to my 20 grams, I dump it in my grinder. It has 40 settings on it, but I know grind 8 is the best because I've been intentional. So once I grind it, I put it in here, I tamp it, and then I gotta put it in here, turn it on. Now you can't just wait for this to fill up to 2 ounces, because what if it takes too long or too little? You gotta be intentional about it. About 22 seconds, maybe 25. And that's the process. See, I can't just like throw some beans that are already ground in there and expect a good process. This takes time, and this takes effort to get the right product and the best mocha that I can. You might call me a coffee nerd, yes, but you gotta be intentional if you want the right thing.
Okay, another thing I'm intentional about is as soon as the kids get home, they all have a folder. They all look different, but this is one of Caitlin's, and they'll bring it to me and I go through it. It's got work that they've already done for the week or the day. I go through it. If it seems like there's something maybe they don't understand, I can kind of go through that with them. And then every once in a while I'll keep a piece of work so I have something to remember their year by. And then if they have any homework to do, I can make sure that that gets done right when they get home and it's not forgotten.
So I take a little field trip out into the garage, and I have oil and filters sitting here because it's about time to do some car maintenance. This time of year it just always comes up. So I have my oil for the cars and cabin air filters and air filters, a funnel because I know I'm going to need that, otherwise I'm too sloppy and I will spill it everywhere. I know I need my filter wrench and a socket, and probably a lot of paper towels and these gloves, because I don't like getting oil all over my hands. Call me a wuss if you want, that's fine. And it's intentionally done every year, or however many times you change your oil, every so many miles, because obviously you're not just going to drive your car and just go, well, I'll just leave the maintenance up to whatever and not think about it. You have to do the maintenance on it. So therefore I'm intentional in getting the oil and getting this stuff ready for when I actually get a chance to get out here and do it, probably next month. Another thing that's important for us to be intentional about, especially with 3 kids, is how we put away food and how we organize things, right? You don't just take everything once you get home from the store and throw it in your fridge. So you can see actually, maybe this isn't a good one to show.
Another very practical thing that I'm intentional about is making sure every night before bed I plug in my phone, because I want to make sure that the next day it has a full charge. And then I go ahead and make sure that all my sounds and my ringer and everything's turned off, because I don't want to be interrupted.
Another thing that always comes up in the summer is firewood chopping, right? And to store it. And so obviously there's a lot of intention with this. When I first got all this, I dropped it in our yard, and I thought I'm never gonna fit all that undercover in the barn because it looked like way too much. But yet, as I stuffed things in there and stacked it with as little wasted space as possible, I was surprised. Literally, I was shocked that it all fit. And so there's a lot of intentionality using every single square inch that I can to get the firewood to fit. And of course, the other side with firewood is the fact that when you go build a fire, you don't just get kindling and some newspaper or whatever you use to start a fire and a chunk of wood and just chuck it all in there randomly and hope for the best. I like to build a little kind of organized stack, and then since I'm too lazy to actually get newspaper, I just put this on it until it lights. Since it's 70 degrees in our house now, I'm not going to do that, but again, the idea is that there's intention behind this, and it's not just cluttered and thrown in there without any effort.
So we hope you enjoyed our little journey of things that we're intentional about in our lives. Some of them have become habits like, plugging in my phone and turning off my ringer. Some are, we have to plan out more. I mean, I think about you with the wood, and he didn't show you, but he even has a measuring stick so he knows how long to cut each piece so that it will fit. And so some things are just, we really have to plan more for.
Yeah, and as we do that, intentionality becomes natural. And really, that's the idea that our whole encouragement to you is to really become natural at being intentional in your marriage. And boiling that down, it really is just, hey, maybe that means I'm going to go around and open my wife's car door when we're on a date. At least try to do it then. Or while we're grocery shopping, I'm going to hold her hand or put my arm around her or tap her. Well, maybe I shouldn't do that in public. But the whole idea is that when we do these things in order to show that we are a couple, in order to let each other know that, hey, I love you, I am here, I'm not going anywhere. I commonly say, if you leave me, I'm going with you. I mean, there's just no getting away from me. And we're united. We made a covenant. We made an agreement. An agreement is not near a strong enough word. We made a sacred covenant before everybody who was at our wedding and before God that we are in this, in it to win it. And so the idea is that to be able to be in it to win it, just like if you're playing sports or anything else, stacking wood, plugging in phones, the refrigerator, even though we kind of set the refrigerator up as a joke, the butter has hit my foot more than once. I don't know how that happens. But anyway, the idea is that if you're in any sports team or anything, you have to be intentional to do your best. And so that means planning dates, putting them on the calendars that we have. That means, okay, there's always something that could get in the way of it. Becky doesn't like when I say this, but there have been like distant people that we know that like there's a funeral or something, and we just kind of got invited because, and I'm like, no one even knows us at this funeral. She doesn't like that I say this. She says it sounds cold. But I'm like, I'd rather go on a date with you because there's always something more important that could come up, or seemingly more important. And if that's the habit we get into, and that's kind of the standard and what we allow to happen, then you're never going to go on a date, right? I mean, I can say that, right? It's okay to use the funeral.
That's okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like a family member.
No.
Okay, so
you came across this, right?
Yeah.
This is 50 ways to love your spouse. Some of them we've talked about, dates and holding hands and things like that. Some of them, I'm sure you guys could come up with your own. But if you are interested, we can email this out, right? You have this on the computer. So just 50 ideas, and
yeah, some of those are real practical. Like we said, hold hands. Some are, pray for each other, show respect, show love, make time to talk, cuddle, those kinds of things that just show that you're committed and you're being intentional with this relationship. Intentionality really needs to start even before the marriage, and it should in no way stop after you say I do and walk down the aisle. So guys, we hope you're encouraged. And just know that great marriages and good marriages don't just come with no effort or no intentionality. It takes work, but after a while it becomes natural, and it's less and less work. You just got to marry a really good woman. Did I get points for that? All right, I'll stop the video now.
Okay.